What's going on, guys? John Elder here from Codemy.com, and in this video, we're going to start to build out the text boxes for our CRM project with Python and Tkinter. All right, in the last video, we built out our table. In this video, we're going to modify the table a little bit, but mostly we're going to focus on building out the text boxes so that we can enter data into the database. But before we get started, if you like this video and want to see more like it, be sure to smash the like button below, subscribe to the channel, and check out Codemy.com, where I have dozens of courses with hundreds of videos that teach you to code. Use coupon code YouTube to get $22 off membership. That's all my courses, videos, and books for a one-time fee of just $27, which is insanely cheap. All right, like I said, in the last video, we created our table. And first I want to mention that we had to put all of this stuff all on one line. And I was going to show you in this video a real easy way to get around that. You could just use backslashes after each one to put these on different lines. So that's just a handy little thing. I was going to show you that in the last video, but we kind of ran out of time. So that's much easier to read. So what we want to do now is modify this. Either get rid of it completely, and you can see I've written some code to do that here to drop the table. And so it's just mycursor.execute, drop table, customers. That will delete the table, right? So we may or may not want to do that. We could also alter this table to add more fields because, we have first name, last name, zip code, and price paid. But if we go back over to the website, there's a whole bunch of other stuff we want to keep track of. So we need fields for that in our table. So I'm actually not going to drop the table. What I'm going to do is just alter the table, and I'll show you how to do that right now. So let's just go alter table, and I'm just going to paste this code in. So what we want here is mycursor.execute, and then the SQL command is alter table, and then we want to alter the customers table. And what we want to do, how we want to alter it, is we want to add stuff. And so we add stuff, and then we just create a tuple, right? Opening and closing. And just like up here, we just put one on each line what we want. So we've got email, address 1, address 2, city, state, country, phone, payment method, and discount code. And you can see mostly these are all varchar of various lengths. So that's pretty simple. Now, another thing I want to do is we've created this table. Every time we run this code, we don't want this to keep trying to create a table. That will throw an error. So to get around that, we could either comment this out, or we could just go create table if not exists, plural. So now it'll check. It's a basic if statement. It'll say, hey, does the table exist? If it doesn't, create it. If it does, just ignore it. So, all right, that looks good. Okay, so if we save this and run it, we should add all of these things to our table. And then down here from last video, this will print it out onto the screen to make sure we did everything right. So let's save this and let's run it again. And when we do, our box pops up, we can close it, and then boom, here is our table. So we have first name, last name, zip code, price paid, user ID, email, address 1, address 2, city, state, country, phone, payment method, and discount code. Okay, so far so good. Now we can, well, first we need to comment this out. So I'm going to use 3 single quotation marks to comment, and then 3 more to end the comment. Because every time we don't want to alter the table every time we run our code, but I want to keep this in here because you can get this code on my GitHub page if you want to actually look at it. So I'll leave it commented out. And same thing down here. We don't want to show this table. We can just comment that out, and we don't want this either. There we go. Okay, so now let's start to build out our GUI, our graphical user interface, because right now we just have an empty box, right? So first thing we want to do is create a label. And this is just going to be the title label. And it's just going to set this equal to label. And it's going to be in our root program. And the text is going to be what? Codemy customer database. I don't know, right? And then we want the font to equal anything we want, but let's make it Helvetica. Is that how you spell that? Yeah. And we want the font size to be, I don't know, 16 or so. And that should be good. Now, where do we want to put this? underscore label dot, we want to grid this because we're going to have to make this sort of complicated. We can't just pack this stuff onto the screen. So let's put this at row equals 0, column equals 0. And for now, let's go column span equal 2. And we want to give this a pad y of 10. And we'll see what that is in just a second. So let's save this and run it real quick. All right, so we have this customer Codemy customer database. It's got some padding here on the side. Okay, it doesn't look great now, but we're going to add columns underneath it, and it'll look better when we do that. So, okay, so far so good. So now we want to start building out the boxes for our text fields so that we can actually enter in data from our customers into the database. So we're going to need a field for each one of these things, right? And each one of these things. So a bunch of them, 13 or 14 of them. So let's just start out making them. So let's go first underscore name underscore label and set that equal to a label. In our root program, we want the text to equal what? First name, right? And we want to grid this. And so we want to put this on row equals 1, column equals 0, and that's fine. So I'm just going to copy this, and let's do another one for last name. Instead of it saying first name, we want this to say last name, and we want this to be in row 2. Same column though. Now I'm just going to go ahead and pause this and write in the rest of these so you don't have to watch me type over and over again because that's pretty boring. Okay, so we've got first name, last name, address 1, address 2, city, state, zip code, country, phone, email, username, payment method, discount code, and the price paid. So let's go ahead and save this, give it a quick run to see if there's any errors. Okay, so we see this and they're all kind of centered in this column, and that is not, at least to me, that doesn't look very good. So let's change this around a little bit. We can give it a sticky to sticky it to the left side. And remember, sticky in labels is north, south, east, and west. North, south, east, west, right? So if we want this all on the west side, we can give it a sticky of W. And we also kind of want to give it a little bit of padding off the side, because it's going to smush it right up. See, like this right here, it's right up against the edge. We want to put it over. So I'll give it a pad X of 10. We can go ahead and close this. Pull up our code again. And just like last time, I'm going to pause the video and do this so you don't have to watch me type all this stuff out. Okay, so what we did here is we gave each one a sticky of W and a pad X of 10. So let's save this and run it. Okay, so that's looking a little bit better. Everything lines up here. All right, looking good. So now we want to add entry boxes, text boxes, right? And with Tkinter, those text boxes are called entry boxes, right? So we can just create entry boxes. And I'm going to use the same naming, right, for each of these. But instead of calling them first name underscore label, I'm going to call it first name underscore box, right? And set that equal to entry. And we want it in our root directory, our root program. Now, up here, we just dot gridded each of these on the same line, but we can't do that here because later on we want to have a button that if we click the button, it'll clear all the fields. And we can't do that for some reason. If we also have a grid on there, it messes it up. So we have to do this on a separate line. So let's go grid. And let's see, we want this to be in row equals 1 and column equals 1, right? And you just want to go through here and do this for each of these, right? Same thing. So again, I'm not going to make you watch me type all of this stuff. Okay, so what I did here is I just went last name and then we just put it down a row, same column, and I gave it a pad Y of 5. Pad Y is up and down, so they're not smushed all together. So row 2, row 3, row 4 for each one, city, state, zip code. Let's go ahead and save this and run it. And we see it's starting to, our thing is no longer big enough. So let's fix that real quick. Head back to the very top here. And instead of 400 by 400, let's go, I don't know, 400 by 600. See how that looks. Save it. Run it. Okay, that's a little better. And all right, so we can type stuff and tab and everything is looking good. All right, so now we need a couple of buttons here. We need a button to actually submit the stuff to our database, and we need a button to clear each of these. So let's do that real quick. Let's head on back down and let's go create buttons. And let's go add underscore customer underscore button. And that's a button. And it's in root. And the text is going to say what? Add customer to database. And we'll have a command that fires a function to actually add this. We'll do that in a bit. But for now, let's go add underscore button dot grid. And let's see, where are we here? So we're on row 13 for the price paid. So our next row will be 14, column equals 1. And let's give this a pad X of 10 and a pad Y of 10. Let's go ahead and save this and run it to see how that looks. Okay, so it's in this column, and I don't love that so much, so let's change that. Instead of column 1, let's put it in column 0. Let's run this. Okay, so that's right there. It's looking good. Now let's put another button underneath here, and we'll use that to, clear this stuff. So let's call this clear underscore fields underscore button. And it's a button in root. And we want the text to be what? Clear fields, maybe. And we'll give this a command in just a second. Let's go clear fields button dot grid. And we want this in row 14, column 1. And we don't have to give this pad X or Y. We'll sort of inherit from the button next to it. So let's save this and run it. See what that looks like. Okay, add customer clear fields. Cool. So let's do this clear fields button real quick. Knock that out. That should be pretty easy. So let's come down here and our clear fields, let's give this a command of what? Clear underscore fields. So every time we click that button, this function clear fields will fire. So now we need to create that function. So let's kind of go up to the top. I like to create my functions towards the top of my program. So let's go create, let's go clear text fields. And we want to define clear fields. And let's just return this for now. So what we want to do here is actually delete all of the things in each of those boxes. So we just have to go first underscore name underscore box. We just fire the .delete function. And then for entry boxes, if you remember back to the video we did on entry boxes like a year ago or whatever, we just go 0 and then end. So I'm just going to save this and run it to make sure that works before we do all the other buttons. So I can add a bunch of stuff, and I click here, boom, it disappears. All right, so now we just have to go through and do the same thing for all of our boxes. And again, I'm not going to make you watch me type all this stuff in. I'm just going to paste it. So last name, address 2, city, state, zip code, etc. So let's go ahead and save this and run it. So let's give each of these things some stuff. And if I click this, boom, they all disappear, except for these 3. The last 3 are wonky. So let's see, what did I do there? Oh, we don't have a username. All right, so payment method box, discount code box, and price paid box. That should work. Let's save this and run it again just to make sure. I had an extra box listed. All right, clear fields, boom. They all clear. All right. So now the only thing to do is create this add customer to database button. And this video is getting a little bit long. but I think we can do it real quick here. So let's go down to our button here and our add customer button. Let's give this a command. And what do we want to call this? It really doesn't matter. Let's just call it add customer. Right? So now we need to create that function. So let's go back up to the top here. And where do we want to put this? Let's put this right underneath this guy. So let's go submit customer to database, right? So we want to define add customer. All right, so I'm going to break this into a couple of things. So I'm going to go SQL command equals something. And let's go values equals something. And now what we want to do is just go my_cursor.execute, right? And we just want to pass in each of these things. So let's go SQL command, comma, values, right? And once we do that, we need to commit the changes to the database. We always do that with databases. Databases are almost always a two-step process. You do a thing and then you commit the thing. So you kind of shove the stuff into the database and then you save it, basically. All right, so to commit, we just call mydb.commit. Right? And this mydb, if you remember, is the name of our database that we created up here, our database connection. So, all right, so that will commit the change. So now we just need to add the values and the SQL command. And the SQL command is we want to insert into our customers table, right? What do we want to insert into? Stuff, right? We'll talk about that in just a second. And then we want to insert the values of other stuff, right? So what are these two things? Well, this one right here is going to be the names of all of our columns, right? So first name, last name, zip code. So we're designating what columns we want to put stuff in. And the values, that's going to be the actual stuff that we type into the program, right? So we've got, let's count them up here. We've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13. We've got 14 things that we want to add to the database, right? So we need to put 14 values, but we don't want to put the values there. We just want to put a placeholder. We'll designate the values down here so it's easier to read. So placeholders are just %s, right? So we need 14 of those. So I'm just going to copy and paste. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, right? And for here, I'm just going to copy these. I've got it written down already. These are just the names of the columns in our table, right? So we're looking at first name, last name, zip code. That corresponds to this first name, this last name, this zip code, this price paid, right? Okay, so that's the SQL command. We're saying put some values, 14 of them, into these 14 columns, right? So what are the actual values we want to add? Well, that's what we do on this line right here. And what this is, these are just these entry boxes, right? So we're looking at, and it's actually not quotation marks, we're going to create a tuple with each of these items. So it's going to be first underscore name box dot get, because remember with entry boxes we get whatever's entered into them. If you remember back the entry box video we did months ago, that's how you do that. And then last underscore name box dot get. Now these need to completely line up to these. So first name, last name, zip code underscore box dot get, right? They have to completely line up or else you're gonna get errors and it's not gonna work. So I'm going to just copy and paste all these in. And I'm copying and pasting a lot of stuff in this video because it's a long video and there's a lot of typing. You can get this code, I'll show you in a minute, on my GitHub page. It's github.com/flatplanet, I think. In fact, let's just look at that real quick right now before we move on. So it's github.com. And let's see, my repositories. So github.com/flat planet. No, I don't think the world's flat. I just find it hilarious that some people do. Find this Intro to Tkinter YouTube course and then go down to CRM. Where it is. Oh, I haven't actually entered it yet. After this video, I'll push it up there and you'll see it. You can click on it and see the code. But for now, first name, last name, zip code. Just do a quick spot check to make sure. Price paid, email, address one, address two, city, state, country, phone, city, state, country, phone, and then finally payment method and discount code. Okay, so I think we're good there. Now, the last thing we want to do is just run this function. So after we click the box to enter the stuff, we want to, clear all the boxes. So just below here, I'll just clear the fields. And let's go clear the fields. All right, so save this. All right, let's give this a run. Almost certainly I created an error. Oh, so far, so good. So let's fill this out real quick. Let's go John Elder, 10 West Elm. I used to live in Chicago. What was I think it was 1508 maybe? I don't know. Sounds right. Chicago, Illinois. And zip code was 60610 in USA. Phone number 111-222-3333. Email address john@codemy.com. Let's see. I used Visa, I used discount code YouTube, and the price I paid was $27. All right, so let's click this button and see. Oh, it did not erase, which means we have an error. Let's see. Oh, what do we get? During the handling, exception occurred, tuple index out of range. Line 83. So, all right, what did we do? Right here. So let's count. We've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Oops, 9 was state, I think, right? All right, so 10, 11, 12, 13. There's 13 fields. And what do we do? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14. I put 14 for some reason. All right, so we only need 13. So let's save this. Head back over here, run this again. All right, John Elder. Okay. All right, so add customer. Oh, right, disappeared. So hopefully we got no error. All right. But did it actually add it to the database, right? So let's come down here real quick and just write some quick code to see. So let's just query the database real quick. Let's go my_cursor.execute, and we want to select everything from customers. And then let's say result equals mycursor.fetch all, and let's go for x in result, print x. Okay, so we're going to pull out everything from the database. We're going to loop through it, print it on the screen, basically, right? So let's run this again. And our program opens, we close it, and boom, it prints out everything in there. John Elder paid $27. Our user ID is 1. All right, looks like it worked. So fairly simple. I mean, it seemed like a lot of stuff. And again, you can check my GitHub for all of this code, because I copied and pasted a lot of stuff. But not too bad. Starting to look like a program, right? And we can enter stuff into these things. We can clear it. We can add stuff to the database. Pretty cool. So we're making some progress. In the next video, we'll kind of create a function to where we can look in the database instead of having to look at the command prompt like we just did now. We'll actually do it graphically, and we'll start to look at that in the next video. So that's all for this video. If you liked it, be sure to smash the like button below, subscribe to the channel, and check out codemy.com where you can use coupon code YouTube to get $22 off membership. So you pay just $27 to access all my courses, hundreds of videos, and the PDFs of all my best-selling coding books. Join over 60,000 students learning to code just like you. My name is John Elder from codemy.com, and we'll see you in the next video.